Hello everyone, welcome back to our financial modeling and business simulation class, session 3. Today we are going to learn about spreadsheet modeling. We have several topics that we are going to discuss for today. The first one is spreadsheet design and formatting. The second one is graph or chart and dynamic chart. The third one is data validation, and the final one is scenario manager. The first topic is spreadsheet design because basically financial modeling and business simulation is how about you design your spreadsheet so it looks attractive, effective, efficient, and easily understood by the reader. Let's say this is an example. We have a unit price of $40, unit cost of $24, fixed cost is $400,000, and we have a demand of 50,000 units. And for the purpose of building spreadsheet model, just assume the quantity produced is 40,000 units and develop the profit model. So this is the basic rule of thumb for spreadsheet design. You have to separate the input or the data with the calculation and the output. The input is like your assumption that you are going to calculate here. This is all of the assumption. We have unit price here, we have unit cost, fixed cost, demand, and quantity produced. And here I get the input in blue color to differentiate with the calculation, because in the input section in the data section you enter the number manually. However, in model and in output section, the number here written in black because this number is resulted from a calculation from another cell. So the blue one for manual input and the black one is the number that you get from calculation. You have to enter a formula here. You cannot enter manually. You cannot enter manually here. Just enter. You should enter with formula in calculation section. So just separate the data, calculation, and output. This is the very basic spreadsheet design. And after that, you can also put different color. For example, for input, you highlight it with pink shadow, while for calculation you highlight with blue, and for profit you highlight it with green. So it is preference. The color is preference. There's no significant or there is no strict rule about the color. And you can also use border like this in order to make your model appearance more neat and more beautiful. The types of spreadsheet that we are going to build in our financial modeling and business simulation class is predictive spreadsheet model. The predictive spreadsheet model focuses on understanding the future, so it involves multiple time periods. Basically, we use this spreadsheet model to forecast or to predict something in the future, and we are going to use the spreadsheet in order to build forecasted financial forecasted model for your business. So in this financial modeling class, you can develop business from scratch, and you can forecast your financial condition, your business financial condition, along with their uh, report financial report to 5 years or 10 years ahead. So this is the example of predictive spreadsheet model. Assume that one pharmaceutical company, they discover a new drug and now seeking the FDA approval to market the drug. We have the R&D cost of $700 million and the cost of clinical trials of $150 million. Both the R&D cost and the clinical trial costs are considered as initial outlay or project investment, something like that, something that you have to disburse in the first period when you setting up a business or a project. The current market size is 2 million people, and it will grow at a rate of 3% each year. while the market share Moore has is 8%, and the growth of the market share is 20% each year. Okay, so after that, the company is expected to generate $1,560 for each drug or each prescription sold, and their monthly variable cost is $40 per unit. Their discount rate is 9%. It is used to compute the NPV of the project. And the company needs to know how long it will take to recover its project cost, or we can say this is the payback period and the NPV over the first 5 years. So here is the input. In the input section, you put everything you know, or every assumption you develop in the first place. We have market size assumption, we have unit revenue, cost, discount rate, market share, market size growth, market share growth rate, etc., and also the project cost. And in order to perform the calculation, they aim for the NPV. In order to compute the NPV, you have to know the sum of net cash flow divided by 1 plus discount rate, power T, minus initial investment, or which is the project cost. And in order to find the net cash flow here, you have to compute the profit or cash flow here, which is computed by deducting cost to revenue. And while the revenue itself is, you can find the revenue by multiplying quantity sold with unit price. And since we have the data of market size and market sale, the quantity sold is equal to market share multiplied by market size. I will let you know the full spreadsheet model in Microsoft Excel after this slide. So this is the full financial model for the Moore Pharmaceutical. This is the predictive financial model for Moore Pharmaceutical. Here we have the data. Here you put all of your assumption, all of information that you know in the beginning of the period in the input section or in data section, or we can consider this as input. Right? Just put it everything in here for market size, unit revenue, everything. And here is the model or calculation section. Okay, so basically we are going to calculate the profit or the net cash flow for each year. So we have we have year 1 until year 5. After that, in order to obtain the market sold, you have to multiply the market size with market share. In the first year, your market size is 2 million. You can use this trace precedent to know where you get the formula from. This is a market size here. And the market share is 8%. You get it from here. 8%. All right. If you want to remove the arrow, just click remove arrow here. All right. So in year 2, the number of market size is the growth of the market size multiply the market size in year 1. So you just simply multiplies 2 million here in cell B22 multiply by 1 plus B11 here. B11 is market size growth factor. And I put string here because if I don't put string here, it will be dragged into cell C and cell D, which is there is nothing here, so your calculation in here will be misleading if you do not put a string here. All right, so that's how I compute the market size in each year. The similar goes to market share. You also in year 2 you also multiply the market share in year 1 with the growth factor in cell B12. All right. The unit sold is simply the multiplication of market size and market share. The formula is similar for every cells in here. And the annual revenue, we obtain the annual revenue from multiplying the unit sold with the unit price here. Where is the unit price? This is the unit price or unit revenue, whatever it is. Just multiply it, and we have the revenue for 5 years. And also the cost. Cost, you calculate the cost. The cost in here is a variable cost. You multiply the unit sold with the monthly variable cost. After that, you have revenue and you have cost. So you can calculate profit by deducing revenue from cost. Okay. And after that, in order to compute the NPV, you have to compute the cumulative net profit first. The cumulative net profit, you can get this by, like, in the first year, the net profit basically is the project cost. Why I reduce the profit with the project cost? Because project cost is basically an expenditure, so we are going to reduce the profit in here with the project cost in here. Okay, so we have the cumulative net profit for year one. And as for the year two, the cumulative profit is profit in year two added by profit, cumulative profit in year one. And so thus in year three, the cumulative profit here is profit in year three added by cumulative net profit in year two, and so on and so forth. After you have cumulative net profit, you can compute the NPV. This is the formula to compute the NPV. B9 here is rate, B9 rate, and then value 1, value 2 is B28, the profit in here, until F28 in here, less B17. B17 in here is total project cost. Okay, I'm sorry because I have some technical trouble previously. So let's just continue. The NPV here is you put the B9. B9 is basically your discount rate, the rate here. Value 1 until value 2, value 3 is the profit for each year, or the net cash flow for each year. We reduce it with initial project cost. That's how to compute the NPV. And how to compute the payback period? Payback period basically is when you get the positive cumulative cash flow after you spending so much investment. When will you get the positive cash flow? So I use count if here. Count if, we use the cumulative net profit in here, and count if range is B30 until F30, and the criteria is less than 0. So in 3 years you still have negative cash flow. However, in year 4 and year 5 you have already earned a positive net profit. So you will earn your payback after 3 years. And this is the complete financial model for more pharmaceutical. We have data input section in here with pink highlight. We have a model or calculation section. We also have the output section in here. Both have each of the section has different colors, and I also add border for each section in order to make it more beautiful. Our next topic is data validation. We use data validation to define input values in a spreadsheet. For instance, in certain cells, you only allows a decimal or percentage or only positive number. You can define it with data validation, and by data validation, it can also provide an error alert if an invalid entry is made. So let's get back again at our more pharmaceutical examples. And now I will going to teach you how to use data validation. For example, in this cells, the market share cells, you only allow a percentage here. So in order to do so, we use data here, click data, and choose these buttons and choose data validation. Alright, so in setting here, choose allow decimal, and you can choose between because the percentage is actually start from 0 until 100. We could say that minimum value here is 0 and the maximum value here is 1. Okay, you could also add input message as the description for the reader of your spreadsheet. So your reader or everyone that use your spreadsheet will know that this particular input only allows certain criteria in here. For example, in here, the title is market share, and your input message here is please input in terms of percentage. Okay, this is the input message. And if the user of your spreadsheet mistakenly input the non-percentage or or the number not between 1 to 0, it can also release an error alert. The error alert here you can put here, please input only percentage or number between 0 until 1. Okay, so let's try this. Alright, after you create the data validation, there will be like a notification here. This is like the description of your particular cells, which says to input in terms of percentage. So let's see if we do not input in terms of percentage. Let's say I only input 8 here. It will provide an error alert. So you have to retry and put it in terms of percentage, and it will be okay. And another example here, for example, in R&D cost in here, let's say that you can only input positive values. The same goes like previously. Choose data validation, and settings here allow decimal. However, you can choose greater than. The minimum value is 1 or 0, and okay. So if we put negative here, it will provide an error alert that the data that we input in here do not match the data validation restriction. So we have to fix this. Okay, so this is for data validation. I will use our more pharmaceutical example again to develop the combo box. In here, for example, I want to develop a combo box in discount rate here. So I wish to develop something like a drop down list here. So you can choose the value of discount rate by selecting the drop down list. Okay, let me show you how to do it. First, make sure that you have already installed the developer function here. Please make sure you have this function. Or otherwise you can choose file and options. After that, click maybe customize ribbon in here, and please make sure you check the developer box. Alright. Okay, so I will vary the number of the percentage of discount rate here. So first of all, let me first of all, you have to develop the list first. I will develop the list from 9% until, let's say, 12%, and the range is 0.5%. So is the input, the range is 0.5%. Okay, so just develop the list first and put a string here. Okay, all right, so we have the list, and after that we want to develop combo box here, so we have to cut this first. Let's say we have to move it here, move it here. Okay, we'll just modify it slightly. Okay, all right, and the column, no border. All right, so we have moved the 9% in here in the input section to here, right? After that, we develop a combo box. Choose developer and insert and choose the combo box button. You have to draw the box manually. Sorry, just make sure the size fit this. Okay, all right. If you click the bottom arrow, you cannot find anything here because we have not set up our combo box yet. So we are going to set up it now. Just right click the box here and choose format control. The input range here is the list that we have developed before. This is the input range. And cell link, basically the cell link stated in which row your input will be. So just pick it anywhere. I will choose this cell. Okay. For example, if you choose 9%, it will state a 1 because 9% is in row number 1. However, if you choose, for example, 10%, 10% is in row number 3, so it will be changed to 3. However, uh, it has not affected our net present value yet. There is no change yet in here. Regardless, we have developed the combo box. Why? Because the NPV in here is still calculated with 9% discount rate in here. So we have to change the formula in here. Okay, in order to make the formula here more automatic, I will use index function, right? I think we have learned about index function in previous section. Index the array, just the array here. This is our array, and this is the reference 3 and 0 for the exact match. All right. So here the NPV is changes to 155 if you select 10%, and if you select 11.5%, the NPV will be lower than before. So this is combo box. The next topic is combo box. Basically, combo box is something like combination of a drop-down list or list box and single line editable text box that allows you to either type a value directly or to select a value from the box. Alright, so let's see how to perform the combo box here. So first of all, make sure you have already installed the developer in here. And okay, just let me copy paste this first. So here I want to change the discount rate assumption here. I want to develop a combo box here so we can select the variation of discount rate input to compute the net present value. In order to do so, we have to develop the range first. I want to develop a range from 9% until 12% with 0.5% interval. So this is the interval here, 0.5%, and we develop the list. Okay, drag it down. All right, until 12%. And after that, you have to move this one because we are going to put a combo box here. Just press the Ctrl X, and I will move it here. I will move it here. All right. And in order to develop combo box, you select developer and insert and choose combo box. Okay, so, and just adjust the box until it fits the cells. And this combo box do not consist anything because we have not set up the combo box yet. We have to set it up. Just click right and click format control. After that, you select the input range, which is the list that we have developed before. All right. And cell link, cell link is basically you can select everywhere, and the function of cell link is to identify in which rows your input will be. So I will just choose here, choose cell number B38. And the drop down lines is, since we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, we have 6 line here. Just press 7, just press 7 here. Okay, after that you will develop a list like this. Okay, so if you select 9.5, the selling will tell you it is in line number 2. And if you select 11%, it will be written here in line number 11, line number 5. Okay, however, however, the data here has not changed yet, so you have to slightly modify this function to index and list here the reference and the reference in here and 0. After that, this will be changes according to the discount rate in here. So for example, if you choose 12%, it will change to 98%. If the discount rate is lower, the NPV will be higher. So that's all for combo box. The next topic is about chart. We have two types of chart, static chart and dynamic chart. Both of the charts functions is to visualize our data, so the reader of our financial model could easily grasp the main point of your financial highlight. First of all, we are going to discuss about the static chart. Let's get back to our more pharmaceutical example again. In this time, I want to create a chart that visualize the cumulative net profit for over 5 years period. So it is very easy. Just choose insert in here. You can choose, we have several types of chart here. We can use line chart, we can use column or bar chart, or we can use pie chart or scatter chart. But usually a line chart could be used if your period is more than 5 years. But if you want to highlight the volume for each year, you can just choose the column or bar chart. But if you want to compare the proportion, you can use pie chart. And if you want to use, like, you want to know the spread of the data, you can use the scatter chart. So in this case, I just going to use the bar chart. Alright, so first of all, let's just select your chart first. I choose this chart, and then we move it to the place that we want. You can adjust this actually. Okay, choose here, for example. Right. All right. Okay. And we select the data here. The legend or the series is the cumulative net profit. Our series name is cumulative net profit, while the value is the number of cumulative net profit from year 1 until year 5. This is our legend. Click OK. Meanwhile, for the axis or the x-axis, the horizontal one is year. So edit and choose your axis label range. Our axis label range is year 1 until year 5. Okay, and click OK. And you will have your chart ready. You can also change the appearance of your chart design from here, and you can also maybe give the axis titles here. Here is the cumulative net profit, and here we have the year. So this is for the static chart. Static chart is you have one single chart here and you cannot do anything to this chart. Our next discussion is about dynamic chart. So here, if you want to show your chart of your data to your financial modeling reader, without having to create too many charts, you can use the dynamic chart. So for instance, just like in our more pharmaceutical example back then, we have several data such as market share, market size, sales, units sold, etc. And your readers want to know the visualization for each data. You do not need to create one chart for each type of data. You can just use one chart, but the dynamic chart allows you to select with which data you want to show, and the chart will follow the data that you have selected that you are going to show. So I will show you how we create the dynamic chart. We're back again to our more pharmaceutical example. So here I want to show you how to create dynamic chart. For example, I want to create a single chart which I can conveniently change in order to show the market size, market share, units sold, annual revenue, annual cost, profit, and cumulative net profit, without having to create one chart for any of the data. So I will show you how to do it. First of all, in order to create the selection, of course, we have to develop the combo box first. Right, let's insert some rows here. Okay, for combo box, we go to developer. So I want to create select data first. Right, go to developer and insert combo box. Put your combo box here. After that, you click your right cursor and choose format control. Your input range is from market size until cumulative net profit. Alright, your selling could be everywhere, but I'm going to choose this cell. The drop down lines indicates how many lines you will have in your data selection. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 lines here. Okay. Please also include the blank space here when you calculate the line. Alright, so we have already created the drop down list in here. And this is the selling. For example, if we choose market share, it will show 2 because market share is in line number 2. Alright, so since we are going to create the dynamic chart, we have to create the input first for our dynamic chart in here below. Select data or everywhere you like. Okay, so I will use index function again. Next, this is the array. Okay, until cumulative net profit. All right, and this is the reference. You have to lock this reference, but you do not need to lock the reference because you will drag it to the right. So do not lock the first one, do not lock the array, sorry, do not lock the reference, but you have to lock the cell reference. And I will put string in here and close the bracket. Okay, so here column line number 2 indicates it is the market size. Okay, and just drag it, sorry, okay, sorry, this is in percentage anyway, so like this. So if you are going to select annual cost, for example, maybe state it in number, so just make it in number but add comma here, and you can put up to 2 decimal behind the comma. Because why? Because we have market share which is stated in percentage here, so we want the format of the cells agree with the market share in here. All right, so we already have the data that we are going to put in our chart. After that, we create the chart. It is very similar with our previous example. Just choose insert and choose a chart that you like to make. I will use the bar chart again. However, I will change the data selection. Okay, put it in here. I will change the data selection. The data is selected from, sorry, select data. Your data will be the, you can edit this one, the series name here, and series values. Series values is already correct, so you do not need to change it again. The series value is B37 until F37, or the data that you are going to put in the dynamic chart. Click OK, and your axis labels is the year. You can edit this one. This is year. Okay, and click OK after that. So here you already have your chart. For instance, if you want to present the annual cost, you can choose annual cost. If you want to present the growth of your unit sold, you can select unit sold and it will change automatically. Cumulative net profit, it will also change automatically. So that's all for the dynamic chart. Our final discussion is about scenario manager. If you use this scenario manager, you can perform what if analysis. What if you change one or several data from your input, and what is their impact to your desired output? We are going to use scenario manager here. Okay, now let's say I will going to change the input for market share, market size, and market share growth factor. You go to data in here, go to data tab and choose what if analysis and choose scenario manager. Okay, you can add scenario here. First one, I would like to add a worst scenario. Worst scenario is when the situation in the future might not align with your first goal. So the name is worst, and by changing cells, since I want to change market share until market share growth here, just select the data here. Okay, and click OK. After that, you choose your assumption here. For instance, the market share in the worst case is only 5%, while the market size growth will be only 2%, and the market share growth is 15%. And click OK. Actually, you can add more scenario here. We'll add again. I will add base scenario. The changing cell is still similar, and click OK. After that, since this is the base assumption, I do not change anything, so I just click OK. After that, I want to add the best scenario, in which the condition in the future might be better than our initial assumption. By changing cell B10 until B12, and I click OK. Let's say the market share will be 10%, and market size growth will be 5%, and the market share growth rate will be 25%, and click OK. After that, if you want to know the result of your scenario, you can click summary. After you can click summary, you choose your result cell, or for example, you want to know how much is your NPV or your payback situation, payback period in each type of scenario. So just choose your result cell here. For instance, I want to know the NPV and also the payback period in here, and I click OK. So this is the result of our scenario. How to read this cell number B32 is actually your NPV here, and this is the payback period. It states that in your base scenario, this is the values. This is the values in base scenarios. However, in worst case, your NPV will be negative, and in your best case, your NPV will be very high. And you can see also the payback period is different for the each of the three cases. So that's all for the scenario manager. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for listening to this video. I hope you can follow this video very well. I will insert a blank financial modeling for you so that you can follow my instruction while watching the video. Thank you, and see you again in the next occasion. Thank you very much.